Welcome to the Fret Friends Podcast, a guitar and music podcast here to instruct, inform, and showcase. Fret Friends is a podcast from AP Guitar, a music tuition business established in 2012, which provide lessons, workshops, and courses to students all over the world. So here's your host, Adam Picard.
Yes, hello, welcome to Fret Friends, Season 1, Episode 8, The Power of Ear Training. This is the second Power of Ear Training episode, following on very nicely from the how to tell the difference between a major and a minor chord. Here we have dominant 7 and major 7 chords, the very interesting sounding chords that we hear most commonly in rock and pop music, and so we play most commonly in rock and pop music after the major and minor chords. Now, with these two new chords, there's only one note difference between them. The key is in the is in the title. Let's start with the dominant 7 chords. So they still have the root, the major third, and the 5th note, much like a major scale. But they also add in a flattened 7th note. Not a 7, but a flattened 7. So the notes you would hear in the C major scale would be C, which is the root, E, which is the major third, G, which is the 5th, and B flat, which is the flattened 7th note. Now, it's good to hear them like that. That's me essentially playing an arpeggio. And then to the root again. Because you can hear how they work together as a harmony to create that 4-note chord. A C dominant 7 is an open chord. You may already know it. If you see these chords written out, they don't say C dominant 7. Often they would just have the number 7. So a dominant 7 chord just has a 7. C7, D7, B7, A7, and so on. Now, with the sound of them, some people say that they sound bluesy, like this. They sound fairly tense, bold, bouncy. I use all the B's. Blues, bold, bouncy. As opposed to the major 7 chords. Now, although the major 7 chords have major in the title, they don't necessarily sound happy like major chords. In fact, I think they sound slightly sad, but more thoughtful. What do you think? These are all major 7 chords, of course. When we see these chords written out, typically it would say the letter, so C, Maj, M-A-J, 7. That's a G major 7, C major 7, A major 7, D major 7. So fairly different, and it's quite odd really, considering they only have 1 note difference between them within a 4-note chord. So the chord formula for a major 7 chord is 1, major 3rd, perfect 5th, and major 7th, which is essentially the 7. Thoughtful. Romantic? Why did I smile like verge on chuckling when I said romantic, like I'm a teenager? As opposed to dominant 7 chords. All the B's. Blues. Bold. Bouncy. Tense. Do they feel like they need to resolve to a major chord? Possibly. What else? Right, think of them as 4-note chords. I'm not suggesting that we're able to pick out each individual note and say, I can hear 4 separate notes. Some people could do that. Of course I can, but that's quite tricky and that's unrealistic for a lot of people. I'm asking you to be able to tell that a major or a minor chord only have 3 notes in, so they have a certain sense to them. I want to say that they sound standard. Now, I definitely would prefer to have used a better, more suited term, but if you listen to a major chord and a minor chord, they sound very sure of themselves. They know exactly what they were put on this earth to do. 3-note chords. Now, take one of our new 4-note chords, dominant 7. There's more going on. So I would like you to start thinking that there's something extra, something more going on with these 4-note chords. It will help you to determine what they are, or at least even process of elimination. So you could say, oh, okay, it doesn't sound like it's very sure of itself, so it's probably not a major chord, but it doesn't sound sad, so it's or thoughtful, so it's probably not a major 7 chord. Then start asking questions about the one that's left. Does it sound bluesy? A little. Okay, it's probably a dominant 7 chord. You'd be correct. That's the rundown I always think about. That's the 7th chord, the dominant 7th chord shape, just descending. All right, why don't we do a little test? We'll take you back to school. It's test time. I'm going to play you a set of chords, and they will either all be dominant 7 or they will all be major 7. Let's see what you think. What do you think? If you're unsure, let's think of some of the key words. Did they sound bluesy? Did they sound thoughtful? Let's have another listen. If you said major 7, you would be correct. They are major 7 chords, and they have the chord formula: root, major 3rd, perfect 5th, just like a major chord, plus the major 7th. So if you were running through the major scale, it would be the first note that you would hit, the 3rd, the 5th. Excuse me, first time I've coughed on podcast, and the 7th note of that scale. I think now we're at a place, if you listened to the previous Power of Ear Training segment that I did, that I can actually test you on all 4 that we have covered together. Major, happy. Minor, sad. Dominant 7, blues. Major 7, thoughtful. So I'm trying to simplify and just give them one key word per chord type. All right, here we go. What do you think? Did you say minor? I think you did. Well done. Congratulations. They are and were all minor chords. E minor, A minor, D minor, back to E minor again. What's the chord formula for a minor chord? I don't think I've mentioned it in this episode. It is the root note, the flattened 3rd note, and then again the perfect 5th. 1, flat 3, 5. Okay, that is the second time that I've coughed on a podcast. I'm sure I could take these out, edit these out, but we shall see. There is a song by Sixpence None the Richer called Kiss Me, and it goes like this. Sing it. Okay. Why? It's a great example. The first chord is D major. The second chord is D major 7. The third chord is D dominant 7. So it has them all in a row so you can compare them. It's also really clever the way it works because within an open D chord shape, the note where your third finger is, in the chord of D, it is a D. So we can call that the first note of the scale, but we could also call that the 8th note of the scale, which is the exact same note as the first of the scale, but an octave higher. In a D chord, a D major chord, it is on the 3rd fret. Then the second chord of that chord progression is D major 7. So what do? 1, 3, 5, 7. We flatten that note, so we move it away or down 1 fret, but keep all the other notes of that chord the same, because we still need the major 3rd, we still need the perfect 5th, and we still need the root note. And that creates D major 7. Well, you know how we get to D dominant 7, because there's only one note difference between a dominant 7 and a major 7 chord. We flatten the 7th. Again, there is a little bit of movement required with your fingers, but you still play the same notes because we still need the major 3rd, we still need the perfect 5th, and of course, we still need the root note. D dominant 7. And a G major in at the end because that's what it does in the song. Okay, that's been quite a short episode, but the idea with the ear training and listening exercises are that you do them little and often. It's one of those things where if you sat there for 6 hours straight doing them, you would not have as much luck as if you did them for 5 minutes a day or 5 minutes even a couple of times a week over the course of a few months or weeks even. You'll have way more of an idea. Your ears just need to get used to what these chords are called because you have heard these chords. Actually, everyone has heard these chords, whether they realise or not. All right, well, that brings us to the end of the episode. This has been Season 1, Episode 8 of Fret Friends. And it has been very enjoyable again to do another Power of Ear Training episode with you. This time the difference is, dominant 7 and major 7 chords. Now, if you have enjoyed today's episode, please could you rate and review the podcast? I see that some people are doing it now, which is really, really sweet of you. Thank you very, very much. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one. If you would like to inquire about lessons, online workshops, my courses, then please visit my website at www.apguitar.co.uk. You can email me, contact@apguitar.co.uk, or you can send us a text in the show notes. If you click that button, come straight through to me. At AP Guitar Guru on Instagram and TikTok is where you can find lots of mini lessons and quizzes, everything guitar and music related. And I also am on YouTube, AP Guitar TV. Thank you so much. I'm really, really enjoying this. I hope you guys are too. And I'm looking forward to the next one.